So, welcome to chapter 2. We're going to be talking about strategy and sustainability in this chapter. So, what we're going to do is to learn what is sustainable business strategy and how the sustainable business strategy is related to operations and supply chain management. We're also going to define the strategy for operations and supply chain and also how such strategies are implemented and why such strategies have implications to business risk. And then finally, we're going to look at it from a quantitative or analytical view. We're going to compute productivity in operations and supply chain management. Sustainability. See, nowadays, all companies are looking for profit, and also they are looking for how long they can be sustainable in this world as a company for a long time. So it's not only profits anymore, but also how they can continue growing their profits over a time period in the future. That is sustainability. So if you want a company to be sustainable, what are the things that the company should be doing? And that's what we want to look at it as sustainable operations. So a firm should have a strategy so that it can create and sustain the value for its shareholders. There is a basic difference between shareholders and stakeholders. Shareholders are people who own the shares of the company, individuals, or maybe some other companies that legally own this particular company's shares. For instance, if you have shares of General Motors, then you are a shareholder. A stakeholder is individuals or organizations who are directly impacted or influenced by the actions of the firm. For instance, if GM makes a lousy car, and you as a customer is going to be impacted by that if you buy that car. So you are a stakeholder. You need not be owning the shares of the company, but you're actually a buyer. Or you might be saying out of national interest, GM is not doing the right thing. They're not making good cars. So you're still a stakeholder. The credit guys who give money to GM, they are stakeholders. Okay, so people who have some kind of an influence over a company, they are stakeholders. So that's a basic difference between shareholders and stakeholders. Sustainability basically is going to look out for both shareholders and stakeholders. Okay, and usually sustainability looks for three areas, and they are called the triple bottom line. The triple bottom line. So one is, what is the basic money part of it? Profits, economic prosperity. The second is the social responsibility of the company. The third one is how good they are with environment to promote a better environment for the future. That is also called an environmental stewardship. That is also part of this goal of sustainability. So you have a triple bottom line, an economic prosperity, which is the money part of it. So this is basically the profits that you're going to reap by making these products and selling it to your customers. Then you have a social responsibility where your company is actually responsible in a social fashion to the world. And the third one is environmental stewardship. Let's take McDonald's. McDonald's, of course, is a company for profit. So they want more and more money. On the social responsibility part of it, can you guess what they are? What they're doing? Yeah, they have something called the McDonald's Foundation. Okay, the for McDonald's Foundation. So the McDonald's Foundation, basically the Ronald McDonald's Foundation I'm talking about, is they pretty much they want to make sure that the children of the world live better. So they provide a lot of good things, charitable things. They make health as one of the children's health as one of their main motivations, and so on and so forth. And they do a lot of good things to this world. And that is a social responsibility that McDonald's is portraying itself. The last thing is the environmental stewardship. I don't know, you guys are probably young. When I came to this country in the 1970s, McDonald's used to have styrofoam packets. So these styrofoam boxes will have the burgers and things like that. But nowadays it's all paper. Why is that? Styrofoams have a problem in this world. If you have a lot of styrofoam, that is environmentally it is not good, because the decay of styrofoams, it takes a longer time. But if you have paper, which is easily decomposable, it can be recycled. So in an environmental good part of it, McDonald's is actually doing the stewardship of changing their products as well. They're also giving you more salads nowadays than regular burgers. So rather than saying McDonald's is it's one of the things that gives fat to the world, now they are actually providing a little bit health to the world as well. So they're trying to portray themselves as a little more health conscious and more they are providing the needs for children. And that is what the triple bottom line of McDonald's is. So basically every company is trying to do this. So the triple bottom line of economic prosperity, social responsibility, and environmental stewardship are the key things towards sustainability, are the key things towards the strategy for sustainability. Operation supply chain strategy sets broad policies and plans for using resources of a firm. So basically a strategy by the corporation provides an overall direction and coordinates all the goals within those larger organizations so that the operations can be effective and it can be towards sustainability goals. The competitive dimensions of strategy is many, and the competitive dimensions include cost or price, quality, how fast they can deliver the product, how reliable they can deliver the product. If there is a change in demand, how the company can cope up with the demand, how the company is flexible in its introduction of new products and customizable products, and also various other specific criteria in services, support, and so environmental support, social responsibility support, those kind of things. These are the competitive dimensions for companies. Also, they want to produce, each company wants to have a good maintenance and technical liaison. And they also want to make sure that on a complex project or product, their ability to meet a particular launch date and then stick with it. And then they have good after-sales support. They make good impact on environment. And there are other dimensions which are the product, attractiveness of the product, customization, and all that stuff. Companies have to do trade-offs. Management must decide which parameters of performance are critical and then make sure that they concentrate on those resources to maintain those characteristics. Okay? So, for example, A firm that is focused on low-cost production may not be capable of quickly introducing new products. Suppose I'm making nuts and bolts in my company. How innovative can I be? I'm still going to make nuts and bolts over a period of time. So I cannot be that innovative. But if I'm going to be a company that is making mobile phones, for instance, then I'm thinking about innovation. I have to have innovation. So iPhone 4 to 4S to 5 to 5S to iPhone 10 to iPhone X and so on and so forth. I need to be innovative every 1 or 2 years to be competitive and to have a better product. So it depends on the company. Okay? A strategic position is not sustainable unless there are compromises with other positions. So you have to work with every company around you, and you have to work with the competitive nature of your product and so on and so forth. We call straddling as seeking to match a successful competitor by adding features, services, technology to existing activities. So iPhone 5 to iPhone 7 was a straddling strategy. They did not add anything. But iPhone 10 to iPhone X is an innovative strategy, simply because they added better cameras, 3 cameras rather than 1 camera, and many other features. But these are all often risky strategies, because what if the customers do not want them? What if the other companies like Samsung are producing much better things? So that is a risky strategy. So you could have seen over a period of time the competition between Apple and Samsung. Their strategies are different, yet it is the same: to make a mobile phone better for their customers. That is the same strategy, but then they make different features, they make different things. And sometimes Samsung wins, sometimes Apple wins, so on and so forth. So there are trade-offs that they need to work with. And they need to assess the risk as such, because there is uncertainty in the environment. Every operations and supply chain management that companies look forward to, they have to make sure that they assess the risk, because there are many problems that can happen. There are likelihood of disruptions that can happen, and those disruptions can be natural or man-made disasters. For instance, if there is a huge cyclone that is sitting on the east side of United States, then there are not many ships which can come through. So there could be a problem in your supply chain activities. Or if there is an earthquake in Japan, their products cannot be manufactured, and so we have some disruption in US. So it can be natural or man-made disasters as well. Okay? Or in case of a war, there could be some man-made disasters. So there is a risk management framework which companies do. One is to identify sources of potential disruptions, assess the impact, and then develop plans to mitigate the risk. There are various risks that companies think of and various strategies. For instance, for natural disasters, usually companies have what are called contingency plans and insurances and things like that. For logistics failures, they usually have something called safety stock. We're going to be talking about safety stock later in later chapters. But safety stock is one of the strategies that companies have for logistic problems. The next thing that we're going to talk about is productivity. We're going to be calculating productivity. The main thing is outputs over inputs. That is the thing. You have to know what are the outputs, and you need to know what the inputs are, and you take outputs and divide that by the inputs, you get productivity. Productivity can be partial, productivity can be multi-factor, and productivity can be total. So we're going to be looking at various calculations and problems in the next video.